All right, my name's Gary Fowler, and it is great to be here today. I have the very great honor of introducing my friend Chifan Johnson Cheng from Hong Kong. And I'll talk a little bit about him in a minute. My name's Gary Fowler, and I am the host of GSD Presents Silicon Valley AI and Technology. I'm a serial entrepreneur with 17 startups under my belt, been involved in 2 unicorns, on the original management team of Click Software, and also Yva.ai, one of the top AI HR tech companies that I founded with Dr. David Yang. We love AI and quantum computing, and it is with great pleasure that I introduce Chifan Johnson Cheng today. Hey, how you doing, Chifan? How's everything going with you?
Hi, Gary. Thanks for having me on the show. It's an honor. Things are going well.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. So, I know we talked about before, you went to Cornell University for your undergraduate and graduate school, and I just love that place. So what made you decide? I mean, you were in the Fingers Lakes. It's beautiful, at least in the summertime. What made you decide to move? I guess you moved, you were working for Deloitte, I believe, down in New York, right in the heart of New York City. And you moved back over to Hong Kong. What made you? What's the journey been like?
It was fascinating, and I absolutely learned a lot. I think that I was very blessed to have the opportunity to work at Deloitte Consulting, where I saw a lot of companies change and transform, and rising out of the ashes of the 2008 GFC. I think that the cultural difference was significant, though, as I moved back to China to eventually take over an e-commerce platform. I think that was I think my journey at Deloitte prepared me for it, but nothing actually prepares you for entrepreneurship and for the tech world. So I was very fortunate to be in the tech in China at that time.
So, Johnson, when we go down through, what was it like? I mean, so, you came from this MBA program of Cornell, you move over to entrepreneurship. What was it like when you came into the office and you turned into an entrepreneur? What was the transition like?
I never thought that it would be this hard. So I empathize with entrepreneurs worldwide. I think that it's less about personal abilities, but it's about pulling the team together now, and the buck stops with you. So there's no manager to handle the mess, so to speak. The buck stops with you, and I remember the feeling of having hundreds of people just looking at you, looking at me, and we're like, and I'm supposed to tell them, where the next step is, where the company's going. And inside, I'm like freaking out because, I'm trying to tell myself, I gotta at least fake it till I make it. At least I need to make it convincing to them. And in the beginning, I used a lot of Western references, like how Google did it, LinkedIn, and sort of a lot of Silicon Valley, parables and analogies, but that didn't work out so well. So I had to adopt some of the things and some of the lessons, and then put them into Chinese stories, Chinese stories that relate to them culturally. But one of the things that I learned was that we took a lot of lessons from the U.S. military. I wished I never got the opportunity to serve, but I read quite a few books on the U.S. military and how they teach leadership. And so we took some of those principles and applied it, and it was highly effective in China, especially in a very chaotic and uncertain environment, such as a startup. So we adopted a lot of those principles and got us great results.
So, like, what kind of principles? I'm really curious. So, if you could say, what are the top 3 things that you applied from the military? What would those top 3 things be?
I think one of the things is to take down those walls between departments and to get people to work together as a team, genuinely as a team. For most Chinese firms, the culture is very siloed. Everybody's responsible for their thing, and everybody else is the other. But we took down those walls, both analogously and physically. We had barriers between departments, and we took them down, and we had people sit together, and we had people work on projects together. And that was a new approach that not a lot of firms did that at that time. And we learned that from the U.S. military. And one of the books I would recommend is Extreme Ownership. That was a really great book that we studied very closely. The other principle that we learned was to delegate authority and decision-making power to the people in the front line. And in China, in Chinese firms, most authority is concentrated at the top. But what we wanted to do and what we tried to do was to push those decisions to the bottom, so the people closest to the customers will be able to make calls for the customer and for some of the product changes. And the third is to be able to communicate really well, and to ask them to communicate back to me. And so I think that one of the lessons I learned was that when the U.S. went into Iraq, you had many different kinds of army units and Air Force, and how do you coordinate that? I mean, in itself, it's a huge logistical nightmare to coordinate this many people and this many units, and which truck is where and how much fuel you need. So they had this weekly meeting where I think it was like a regular meeting where 20,000 people would Zoom in, or what we call Zoom in, but they had something else, and they were able to effectively communicate information and relay that information to soldiers on the field. And I think if they could do that with such a large organization, certainly we could do that in our organization. So we took that advice and we implemented it.
Oh, that's interesting. By the way, on my show about 8 weeks ago, I had the #2 guy in the U.S. military who actually ran the 6th Fleet as a 4-star admiral during Desert Storm. So actually we got into some conversations because he was telling me about, what it was like and being in that kind of a situation, that kind of a massive battle situation. It's just incredible. So, I'm hearing it from the other side, hearing it from the admiral, and now I'm hearing it from you. But but that's what it's all about. When you're running a company, there's a lot of things. The other thing he said, Johnson, was really interesting. He said when the pilots were flying off one of the carriers, he said, his name's Admiral Bill Owen, flying off the carriers, and they were getting ready to take off. He went down, and he said, I actually had tears in my eyes because I knew about 10% of them wouldn't make it back. That was what they thought, right? In reality, that was a much, much better than that. But he said, I went down, and he said, one of the things that's really important about leadership, and I think they had close to 500,000 people involved, the 480,000 or so involved in that campaign. But he said compassion. And that's the first time I've ever heard anybody at that level talk about compassion, how important it is as part of leadership. Because if you care about the people, they care about you. And so it was really, really interesting hearing it. That's great. So, okay, so tell me what you're doing. So where are you right now? What is Voyager? How big is a fund? Is it just you, or is it, you're a private equity fund? But what is it? So it's very interesting for my audience.
So we're a licensed investment advisor and asset management firm based in Hong Kong, and we invest primarily into artificial intelligence and enterprise SaaS deals across the globe. We are stage agnostic, so we look at early stage, growth stage, and pre-IPO deals. And last year, together with our clients, we deployed more than 20 million into deals, and we're looking to do more this year. We love helping entrepreneurs, and our mission is to invest in technologies to help catalyze societal progress. So we want to make a change in the world through our investments and by being a partner to these startup founders and being their strategic, not only financial partners, but strategic partners, giving them resources and the platform to succeed and thrive. We have invested in US deals. One of the biggest deals we invested is called Fiscal Note. We are on the advisory board, and they are going public this year. So hopefully, and it became a unicorn earlier this year, and so hopefully, we'll see them go public. We also invested in another AI company that is very interesting because it's cross-border, and they've taken a technology in the States. They've developed the AI algorithm to recognize fashion items in videos and still images. It's called Markable AI, and they're doing quite well in China because a lot of especially female shoppers like to watch shows and then purchase items on TV at the same time. So that one's doing pretty well. And we also invested in many others, but we believe in the power and the potential of AI fundamentally transforming our societies. And we want to be friends of these startup founders and management to help them realize their dream.
And so what do you do? How do you help them realize their dream?
I think several things. One is we are entrepreneurs ourselves, so we have gone through some of the challenges that they have gone through, and we can provide them with advice, saying that certain things maybe perhaps to think of another way and sharing our experience with them. Secondly, is because of a network in Southeast Asia and in China. So we help them with finding new clients. We'll help them finding the right people that they need. Sometimes they need executives and engineers. We would recommend these candidates to them. We'll help them find talent and connect them to other investors. Sometimes they just need to vent, and we're there to listen without judgment because we've been there. We've also experienced a lot of failures and successes, so we're able to empathize with them.
That sounds more like a psychiatrist than it does being a venture capitalist, but I suppose that's part of the deal, right? you gotta listen. God gave you 2 ears and a mouth for a reason.
Yeah, I think that for me, I really enjoy seeing people thrive and grow, and so I often joke that sometimes it's like, I pay them so I can be their coach and be their friend and be their employee. So, I pay to work for them. But, I think often entrepreneurs...
I've never heard it that way, Johnson. That's the first time I've paid them to be their friend. I've never heard it like that. That's very interesting.
Yeah, I think entrepreneurs are very lonely at times. I think that what we can provide is solutions and support and experience to help them overcome some of the challenges that they face.
No, I agree with you. And this world, as we've gone through this digital transformation, it's really fundamentally changed. And Johnson, you look at the world today, there are about 40 zettabytes of data on the planet Earth. If we took CDs one on top of another and stacked them, it would go 29 times between the Earth and the Moon, growing at almost 68% per year. We're in a state of infobesity all around us, and we need tools of machine learning and deep learning to make our lives a lot easier and better. I mean, think about it. Think about yourself. You went to Cornell, you got your MBA, undergraduate degree in economics, I believe, from Cornell. And yet at the same time, how many times every week do you say, I know that file exists, but I can't find it? I've either forgotten the location or the keyword. Somebody says, I sent you an email. When did you send it? I sent it yesterday. Can you resend it? Or they said, I sent you a message. Where did you send it to? LinkedIn, WeChat, Telegram, all over Facebook, you name it. Look at all these repositories. So we are in a state where we need to tie things together. And when we look about artificial intelligence, not only smart, but intelligent assistants, unsupervised, to be like our guardian angel, our guardian assistant, to help us walk through our lives smoothly and optimally. Those kind of things are going to be interesting. And, we're really in a precipice of understanding some of those technologies and the need that we have. We felt the pain, but we haven't been able to find a solution. But those solutions are coming out very quickly. So, yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on the AI stuff. We speak from the same heart on it. So what are you looking for right now? I mean, we have a wide audience around the world. What kind of companies you look at them, you say, that's a kind of company for me that we're interested in investing in? What kind of ticket size, how big, what stage, what's your sweet spot?
I think for us, our normal ticket size ranges from $200,000 US to up to $5 to $10 million, depending on the stage of the deal. For early stage deals, we can put in over 200,000. And for pre-IPO deals, we can go in for more than 10 million. And it really depends on the stage. But our sweet spot is really companies that have gone past Series A. They have figured out product market fit, and they're looking to scale. They're looking to grow from a 10-person company to 100 people to 400 people. And I think that's where we can help them and come in and say, okay, let's look at these clients. Let's think about the go-to-market strategy. How do we scale? So that's where we really want to help them. In terms of technology, I mean, AI is quite broad, but in terms of sectoral application, we'd like applications in healthcare, applications in cybersecurity, in robotics process automation, and in enterprise SaaS. A lot of marketing tech also uses AI as well. So, but I think at the end of the day, it's about the team and the people, and whether the entrepreneur and whether the founders can execute. I think that's whether they're focused, whether they're able to execute, and whether they're able to carry on the company despite all odds. I think that's extremely important for us. I think that would be the determining factor. There, we saw recently a company in edtech, and we liked it, but the founder was too busy trading stocks, and she spoke about that as well. So we kind of balked at it and said maybe she's not as focused as we thought she would be. Some of the firms, we spoke to that, they dedicate their lives and their livelihoods on it, and they even sell the houses to support the firm. And we know that those entrepreneurs will fight tooth and nail to make the company a success.
Yeah. So how do you determine? So, you just said that she was trading stocks. How do you know, what are the characteristics of that person that you say that's the kind of company, that's the kind of CEO and founder that I want to invest in? What do you look for exactly?
One of the best CEOs I've met from one of our largest investments, he's a lot younger than me, but when I sat across from him, he was extremely confident. He knew his stuff, meaning I didn't feel like I was talking to someone who's much younger than me. I felt like I was talking to the CEO of a listed company, because he's very knowledgeable about deal making, about running a company, about enterprises, about getting clients, and I think that for us, when we see a founder who's very dedicated, who's very committed, very educated, and very determined to succeed, I think that's a huge plus for us. And one of the things that I like is to see previous success in life, whether they've gone, they've started a company before, they've sold it, or they've developed an app before, we like to see track record of success. It may not be as big as building a unicorn, but I think that success builds success, success begets success. So I think that we like to see that track record building.
Yeah. So what if somebody doesn't have a track record, but if they come in, but they have the confidence, so then you're not sure. So you're looking for somebody that's already done it. But what happens if they haven't done it, but they have that capability? That's where the judgment comes in, right?
Absolutely. And in that case, sometimes we do look at entrepreneurs who haven't started companies before, and we speak to them. In that case, we look for drive, and we look for other factors, whether he's surrounded himself with people who are hungry and who believe in his vision, And we also see what his integrity is like. That's extremely important. You don't have to be the smartest guy in the room, but we do require that anyone handling investments or handling or being part of our portfolio to have a certain standard of integrity. And last but not least, whether that person is coachable, whether he's eager to learn or he's kind of one of those know-it-all guys. So I would say having integrity, being coachable, and surround.
I lost you for a second, Johnson. You're kind of you faded out a bit. Can you hear me? Yeah, well, so while Johnson's connected, so it's really important. Teams are really important when you're going global, having the right kind of integrity, doing the right thing, treating the company, like it's your money in a positive way, and preserving it so that you can keep the company going forward. That's really important. Johnson, are you there now? He went off. He'll be back on. So those are some of the key important steps you need to look at. I mean, the world has fundamentally changed over the last year with the digital transformation upon us. There are great opportunities. We can connect anywhere, and the playing field is really level. Johnson happens to be in Hong Kong at the time, but it doesn't matter if you're in Nigeria, Uganda, if you're in Singapore, Australia. You have an equal opportunity. The playing field's more level than has ever been before. So, anyhow, he was trying to come back in. Anyhow, as the playing field is level, what it does is use the technology like the StreamYard and Zoom to be able to reach out. Get yourself out on the press, write articles, do presentations, get content, because what's the first thing that people do when they find out about you as a company? They Google your name. They Google the company's name. Put some stuff out there so you're looked at as an industry expert. Are you back again, Johnson?
Hi, Gary. My apologies.
Yeah, you.
In China is a bit.
No, I understand. You're going in and out a little bit right now. So let's. We're coming up. Yeah, it's choppy, Johnson. So what what do you think right now? What kind of opportunities? How fast is AI going to grow over the next 5 years? What's your prediction in terms of AI companies, especially in Southeast Asia and China?
I think that there are three things that will determine the growth of AI companies. One is the amount across the globe. I think you're Gary, can you hear me?
You're going in and out, but
can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, now it's better. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I think the U.S. is fine in terms of funding into AI companies across all stages. But in China, we are starting to see some AI companies trying to go public and have withdrawn their application for the filing. And that could have implications down the value chain. So we think that...
Why did they withdraw, Johnson?
Partially it's due to regulatory reasons, and partially it's due to sort of accounting standards and getting it right for the exchange. The Starboard is new, and a lot of companies are trying to get on the Starboard. A-shares in China. Also, they're tightening the restrictions, so not everybody can go public now. So I think that that might have implications. Secondly, is that so the financial markets, the secondary markets, even though they're quite far away from Series A and early stage companies, they have a trickle down effect on the whole sector. Secondly is whether we can find a viable business model for many of these companies. And a lot of AI companies have great technologies. I mean, great patented technologies, cutting edge technologies. But if they can't find great business models to go with that's tailor-made for that technology, then sometimes it's difficult for the company to grow. And thirdly, I think that some of the constraints is talent, whether you're going to be able to hire talent fast enough. I think with the States in the past few years, H-1B visa was an issue. So a lot of talent went back to China. And even in China, with a lot of AI engineers, there's not enough. There's a huge talent gap. So I think that those are several issues: the financial markets, business models, whether and thirdly, talent recruitment and retention. I think those will determine the speed of growth in AI.
Well, I mean, the other thing what we see is that a lot of the companies have incredible technologists, but they don't have the operational expertise. They've never done a unicorn. They've never done an IPO on Nasdaq. They don't have the right stuff. Not saying they can't do it, but they just don't have it. So it's an amazing situation. And we use Silicon Valley as a port to the rest of the world because there's so much capital from all over the world located there. So Israel, we've raised money from Israel, from China, by the way, all over the world, using it as a port. That's not to say you take jobs away from some place, but use it as a port. So we see that. And now with the pandemic slowing down over here and the COVID vaccines coming out, we're starting to see an uptick, although some of the people that didn't get vaccinated that are younger are now starting to have the challenges. But we see it coming back. And this digital transformation, Johnson's really helped us in terms of being able to spread the word out very easily, very quickly at a low cost. So it's a tremendous opportunity. So if we look at it, what would be words that you would want to leave with the entrepreneurs and investors? What's some key thoughts? What would you say over the next year is critically important for them in order to move forward?
I think I would three thoughts apply to startups, but also apply to other startups in other industries as well. I think one is to have the ability to execute and execute well. At the end of the day, startups is all about organizational skills and whether you can commercialize. Once commercialize and get your clients together, then you're much more resilient against external shocks in the market, and that allows you to grow faster and faster. So the ability to execute, always try to figure out how best to improve your organization, find the right people, and improve that competency. Two is, I think, to have realistic expectations on valuations. I think we all believe, it's special, and we all believe we should mark up whatever is possible, and not to sell yourself cheap. And I do believe that. But I think that with the valuations of some of these companies that are so high, that they can't afford to make mistakes. Because then if they make a mistake and they get derailed a little bit, then have a down round, it's extremely difficult to recover. My take is to be realistic and to give yourself some room in case you have to make detours or you have to make mistakes, and to leave some room, leave some money on the table so that you don't have a high risk of a down round next time. And then third is raise money when you don't need to, and raise as much as you can, as fast as you can. Sometimes founders worry about they worry about dilution, and they worry about if they don't need the money, why don't they just not raise? But my experience has been that some of the most successful startups has always been raising money, especially when they don't need it, because you don't know if one day you will need it. When you raise when you're in desperation and you need to raise, it's a challenging situation you don't want to get yourself in.
No, I agree with you 100%. It's like counterintuitive too. People say, well, I'm going to be conservative. I don't need the money now. But the key is raise it when you don't need it so that you have it when you do.
Yeah, that's absolutely.
Great. So tell me, what's the best way to get a hold of you? And in closing, how can people get a hold of you? And what kind of companies are you looking for right now and to talk to?
I'm looking for all kinds of company that uses AI. So I welcome everyone to contact me on LinkedIn. You can find my LinkedIn. You can search for Voyager Capital Hong Kong. So my website is www.voyagercapitalhk.com. We are not affiliated with the US Voyager Capital. We're Voyager Capital Hong Kong. And you can search my name on the internet and search for us. I welcome, or you could, contact Gary to get a hold of me. I'd love to talk to entrepreneurs, and even if we can't collaborate, I hope to be a friend and a partner in the future.
All right, sounds great. Johnson, thanks so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. I really appreciate you joining me today for my show. This is a great time. Look forward to working with you on projects together. And, as we say at GSD, let's get shit done. It's all about the execution. So thanks a lot. And thanks everybody for joining us today. My name's Gary Fowler, and I am the host of GSD Presents Silicon Valley AI and Tech. It is the time. Get out there and get them. This is a great time to be able to go out and go global, but it's not about talking. It's about doing. As Johnson says, let's execute. Check my show out again on Thursday of this week. I'll have best-selling author Patrick Flesner, and he is from Europe, Germany, and he's going to talk about his book, Scaling Up. So thank you very much. Take care. Have a nice day. And
thank you, Gary.
See you later.
Thank you, Gary. Take care.